So, welcome to Secrets and Sabotage. Very happy to announce our next guest. One of my favourites from season 2. We're going to cover his iconic roundtable at a certain point through the show.
For everyone to go back and listen to how many times you've called someone your favourite.
Everyone's my favourite. That's on the show.
He means it this time. Though.
Yeah,
he means it this. Like...
Brian, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure, honestly.
How's life?
Manic. I'm excited for it to calm down a little bit next year. Well, who knows? It might not. But
I doubt it will for you, yeah.
This is new waters. So.
What's been going on?
Well, see, before going on to the show, because I'm self-employed, I don't get holiday pay like a lot of people. So I was like, I need to work my ass off so I've got a little bit of cushion. So I worked maybe a little bit too hard, and now it's paying off.
So it's
paying off.
Oh no, I've got too much money.
Oh no. But then also like all the stuff on the traitor side of things as well added on to that. So I feel like I'm living a double life.
Right. Yeah. So professional photographer by trade.
Yes. I'm very good as well. But
you are
very good.
Fine. I love your confidence. You are very good, very talented. I've seen some of your stuff. Very, very good indeed.
One thing we've not asked people on this entire series: what made you want to go on to Traitors?
All my friends, well, a lot of my friends kind of take the piss out of me a little bit and say, oh, you've always wanted to go on TV and everything like that. I'm a bit of a show-off, but I just think it's an experience that no one else has had. To go on to things like that and experience the missions and just the production of it is also crazy. So that's what I want to do, but also to test myself as well.
Yeah.
Right? Because, again, it's not everyday life that you get put in situations like that where you need to, you're getting scrutinised. Not 24/7, but by everybody on the cast is scrutinising you at every moment. So you can't do anything right. So it's quite an interesting situation to put yourself into to see how you react.
It's quite a daunting situation. We're going to cover your round table as well, but I've watched you after the show. We spoke a lot on social media. You've got one of the best sense of humours. Like, you are quite a funny guy. I'm going to blow smoke up your ass because you are. You've got a great.
It's not that funny.
Funny.
It was all right. No, it was okay. Like, if you like that sort of thing.
But like, your exit of the show is obviously one of the iconic moments for me. Like, your round table was great exit. It was a massive drama point on the show. But the way you dealt with it after and the comedy side of it, like, you've absolutely fantastic. Some great content you put out after. Very, very good. Very impressive.
What? Yeah, you've got to laugh at it, right? Like, I think as well, to go on a show like that, you need to have a certain personality, a thick skin.
Yeah.
Because some people had, the BBC put out the potatoes.
Yes.
The potatoes explode, like mine's exploded.
Yeah.
And at the rap party, the guy came up to me and was like, "Hi, you don't know who I am, but like, are you okay with that?" I'm like, "Yeah, fuck it, put it up. Like, it's funny." Yeah, but if there was someone going on there to maybe take it too seriously, it might backfire a little bit.
Probably not the place for you to go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If you've got the feelings, but yeah, no, it's one of my favourite moments. It's been there's a few people that have come out of this. You've got to take the piss out of yourself. You've got to have a laugh. But The Traitors is not renowned for being comedy driven.
No, totally.
But as you come out, Miles done a really good thing with the Burn book. Yours is brilliant. Johnny's done some really good stuff as well. So some people have come out just because their true personalities have had the opportunity to shine through. Because, like I say, it's not renowned for humour, but how it's dealt with after, you've got to be able to take the piss out of yourself.
Yeah, it's actually interesting because when we were filming, there was so much hilarity, even at the first round table, but it's not kept in. And I was like, this is brilliant, because you don't see that. No. And even when you have the conversations with Claudia, right in the first episode, like, what do you want to be and why are you here and that sort of thing. I sang to her. Because I was so nervous, I sang to her, and it was so ridiculous. I was laughing. None of that got kept in because
sang to her.
Yeah.
Well, what song was it?
Yeah,
let's go.
What did she ask you that you thought the best answer is a song?
She was just like, why are you here? Basically, she was asking what I was going to spend the money on, and I was saying after the final, I had tickets to go and see Busted. So, nice. And then I just started singing to her. One thing led to the other. I started singing, but afterwards I went back. I was like, "That's going to get kept in.
Singing.
I'm going to be singing on national TV." But watching the episode back, it's all like,
yeah.
And so obviously that never got kept in because it would be a bit of a tone change.
Will you be singing our favourite song? Are you
yeah.
coming to the song that haunts us now?
I love that song.
I do. I love it. I can listen back now and enjoy it. But at the time, it sent shivers down my spine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your round table, your round table episode.
Just leave it there. Cool.
No,
anyway,
we're gonna dive into this. Talk, but I want to hear from your perspective.
Yeah.
Talk us through the whole thing. This is what I want to go start to finish. Hit me.
Well, you know what's mad was it kind of got shown a little bit before on the show that before going in, I felt like I was safe.
Right.
So getting voted the biggest sheep, which now looking back on it, it was just a majority. So it might have been 3 people out of the rest.
I thought you was off the radar at that point.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
That's why I was like, a sheep's not really that much of a threat to anybody.
No.
But I was then on the radar, like I was in people's minds. I don't want to be on people's minds at all. So that was my plan, was to go in and just
blend in.
But then, this is a very good point for anyone that's so season 3's already been filmed.
Yeah.
See, anyone going into season 4 is don't break from your game plan, because look what happened to me. My game plan was to be quiet at the round table, but then I was like, I'm not going. You think I'm a sheep? I'll show you, because I'm not. That's not my personality. So I was being myself in there, but pared back a little bit to be a bit quieter. So I was like, I'll show you. I'm not quiet, and I was calling people out and talking and stuff, and then it just spiraled.
It's a horrible feeling on that round table, isn't it?
Yeah.
When it's on top, especially if you're blindsided like you were, and you were 100% blindsided.
Yeah.
I think other names were getting bounced around, and then I can't remember who just brought you up, and then let's say you fair play, you come out swinging, but as the episode and the round table was moving on, if I could feel it as a viewer, I could feel everyone just sort of homing on you for no real valid reason.
Pack mentality, isn't it? You go, that's
the irony.
There was no evidence on him at all.
The irony is that I was called the sheep, and then everyone herd mentality went for me and voted me out. They all acted the sheep.
Yeah.
Sheeps.
Because that's the thing. If everyone then piles on top of him, they know that they're safe for another day.
Well, it said also, there is some cop outs and there is some easy votes. You made a point earlier about that, where some people don't have anything, and they will just jump on the bandwagon and think, well, I'm just gonna. And it is, I would say, popularity contest, but there is elements of it. I think people think, because there's nothing on you at all. There was no reason for them to turn on you. I think you were just scapegoated on that particular episode.
Absolutely.
No one else had anything else to offer.
And you don't. It's really tough when you're there and it's tight. Well, not tight, you don't see a timer, but you feel under pressure of the time. Because I had Ash written down because I knew everyone else was kind of talking about it. And I was like, that's a good point. But then someone else would say sometimes, but that's also a good point. And I was like, I'm not gonna be a sheep here. So that's why it did play in my mind. Yeah. I wasn't that bothered by it overly. Yeah. But I was like, rubbed her name out, and then I put Paul, because I actually had a little bit of
2 spot-on traitors that day as well.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Yeah. So I voted, if I stayed with Ash, I would have voted a traitor out, and then I voted for a traitor. But that was off. So it's just, I went off of what my plan was, and it just unraveled because I wasn't ready for that. I didn't have a game plan for not being quiet.
But for your defence, O'Brien, it is, I say, from being there, it's horrible. You want to defend yourself, and you do have a very short window of opportunity to do it, and you just need to convert a few others round that table.
Exactly.
There's always the ringleaders. There's always their little packs that will follow them, and then you just hope the other ones, just because they don't have anything, and that's what happened with you. There was a couple of people put your name on. Everyone jumped on the bandwagon. Unfortunately, you fell victim to that. But.
And there's no right thing to do either. Is that you could be outspoken, or you can stay back. Because I remember Jazz got called out one of the first round tables, and he was like, I've got nothing else to say. I'd be like, holy, you can't say that. Like, now everyone's going to think that you are, because you're like, I've got nothing to say. Well, that's what a traitor would say.
We had that Imran on season 1 as well. Imran was like that, very smart guy.
Well kept.
Yeah, I liked Imran. He's one of my favorites. I know people took the piss out of him a little bit. I liked him. He was a classy guy, and he left with class as well, like yourself. But yeah, one small, again, too quiet, too vocal. It's such a hard way to play the game. But the round table, like I say, it's daunting. It can consume you, and you can panic a little bit, because just the whole feel of the round table is, obviously, that's where it all happens. That's where it's at. And I just think, you fell victim, unfortunately, to
but that's how I went on to learn about myself and learn how to adapt in those situations. And well, boy, did I find out.
So because you were going to choose Paul.
No, I did. I was going to choose Ash because there was other people saying her name.
Oh, right, okay.
And I can't remember what the arguments towards her were, but I was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. but then that would be me being a sheep. So I would have voted for her if the sheep thing never came up.
Right.
You second guess yourself a little bit.
So when it was finally revealed that Paul was, when you get to watch that back, were you like, fucking knew I was right?
Yeah, so afterwards, because it's so annoying. I literally think about it almost every single day.
Yeah.
Not in like a negative way, but I think about it every day. So I was almost voted Ash out. I did vote Paul, and I had Harry. I had this book, and I was writing lots of notes, and I had Harry down that was a little bit like dodgy about him. Yeah, so it's like if I got through that table,
man, a few more episodes in you, you'd have been. I do feel for a lot of people that went out early as well, because they've got so much to offer. Like Sonia, is it Sonia in your one?
Yeah.
Like one of my favourite scenes is when she's lying in bed and she's knitting with her eye things on it. Literally, I've watched it about 20 times. One of my favourite moments. But I do believe, like, she would have been a great character. I remember she called her Ash at the breakfast one time, and Ash was sort of taken back from it. She caught her off guard. But you have to quick think. So really, there you was on the ball, pretty much bang on the money with three traitors there.
Yeah.
But you just didn't have the opportunity. Who was your first one you thought? I know it's hard on them first few episodes, but did you have an inkling straight away? Was it Ash or Paul or?
It was Harry to start with.
Right.
I don't want to sound cocky because now looking back, like, of course you're saying that. Of course you're saying that. But I had him written down that he was playing with his rings one time when traitors. I think actually Ash came over and started talking about traitors, and he started playing with his rings. I was like, all right, okay, just noted. Wasn't like you're a traitor, 100%. Like going in like mad.
It's a hook, isn't it? Something you
need to
just like.
Into, I was like, I'll come back to that in episode 8 when I'm still here.
All right, because I'll definitely still be here.
But yeah, you kind of go in anything. So it was definitely Harry, and then because Paul didn't back me up at that round table, we had a conversation. He was like, "Oh, you must be crazy when you're out drinking because you're so like a little bit nervous energy." And he said nothing when everyone was like, "Oh, you've got nervous energy around here." So it's like he didn't back me up. So like, okay.
Did you have an idea of how big season 2 would be? Because obviously, from us, season 1 was big. Season 2 was fucking enormous.
You didn't know about season 1. You didn't know it was going to be big, though, did you?
Season 1, we didn't have it. Slow burner, word of mouth. Obviously, it built up a lot of momentum, and I was sort of went through the year consistently, but by the time the end of the year came, Traitors 2 was built up so much, and it was quite a nerve-wracking experience, probably for the cast, for the producers. Can you top season 1? I thought definitely. I've been on the show. I know how clever people there are on that show.
You could definitely top season 1. The people on season 1
they were shit.
Rubbish.
Well, rubbish.
It was actually, I think it was, we're filming episode 2, and I was like, this is better. Because I'm such a fan of the show, I wanted it to do well.
You can sense it. When people ask me, like, did you know the show was good when you were filming it? Fuck yes. I was like, this is fucking brilliant. Mm-hmm. This is, people are going to love this. Yeah. But it was still 50-50. With you guys, I think it was just, will it move up them notches? Absolutely, certainly did.
Because even round that round table when I went out, it went on for ages, as you'll know. And I was just like, when the votes were coming out and everything, I was like, I fucking love this show. Like, this is so, because I was in it watching the show, but then I'd go, oh my god, like I'm in it. Like,
especially when they add the music to it, all the editing, it intensifies it.
I was gonna say, have you watched season 2?
Yeah, what? Yeah. I'm sick in the head. Like, I'm not joking. I have watched.
So do you watch it back now as the viewer and start noticing? You ever watched a film? You watch it the second time, and you notice all the little tricks that you missed in the first one. Do you watch it back now and think, how did I not see it? Because even as we're talking now, I'm thinking of the show, and you said something about the ringleaders, and in both seasons, the ringleaders have always been traitors.
Yeah.
So I'm watching it now, but because I've always known, I can't not see it.
Or the big characters. Like you hit a good point.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Because you think about the main characters that were. You look at the dynamics of the group, and it don't always plan out. Yeah. 9 times the people who are a little bit got a lot of friends. I mean, there's other. There is some traits of the traitors available there
because they've got to as well. Because they've got to have their fingers on all the pies to know who's saying what.
Yeah.
So it's the people that, because you look at it back now, you think Paul was kind of speaking to everyone. And my thing is, even in life, I don't trust anyone that gets on with everyone. because you can't get on with everyone.
No, is that genuine or is that?
Yeah, if you get on with,
you don't get on with, you're going to rub up people.
No, not everyone can get on. It does not work, and I cannot trust anyone that gets on with everyone. And I think, look, watching it now, but without being in it, I'm never going to know the feeling because as the viewer, we're told who the traitors are at the beginning, so you don't get to see it. But like you watching it back now, do you think, how did I not know that it was Paul and Harry?
Not. I was really surprised at Harry, but then there was times when you look back. Actually, it's some of the Harry was so lucky. He played a great game. I messaged him after every episode. He played a great game. But there were some things that he was saying, and I was like, "You how so blatant?" I remember. I don't think it was in the show. We were sat around and we're talking, and he was like, what was it, after the first round table, after Sonia went, he was like, I think everyone, if we're thinking someone's a traitor, we bring it up to them just before the round table. And it's like, of course you want that.
So how convenient.
Yeah, but I never thought. I was like,
bring it to me and I'll let you know.
But when he said that, I was like, oh, that's just a stupid idea. Like, you're just not, like, that's not a smart thing. Like, no one's actually going to do that. So I was like, kind of, but I didn't. When you look back on it, you're like, well, yeah.
I was saying it with Ash as well, and I think like you do second guess yourself a lot though. You do what you think sometimes. You do second guess yourself in that show. That's what the whole said. The paranoia, the sleep deprivation, the personalities, the surroundings, the no contact with it does play horrific games.
Well, just
with yourself.
Saying that, like how you were saying that traitors are a big character and all everywhere, like they're around everyone. It'd be interesting to see someone go in and do the opposite of that and maybe just be really quiet and shy. But like they're playing up that. But then I think, like you say, the paranoia would make you want. Like,
we had Alyssa. Alyssa was one that played slightly back a little bit. She was quite reserved in the first few episodes.
I think she was genuinely terrified.
But she was one of the ones that were like quite. She played that innocent role, and it came as few people that cheat. Again, we know there is no formula. People say there is, or whoever comment on it. There is a lot of luck. There's a lot of clever gameplay in there, and there is a little bit because we know that game can turn in 10 minutes from one person, and shift to someone completely different. Someone might be on the radar all day, but at the round table, they might not even get mentioned because someone
does something.
Directed it.
Yeah, there's no. I guess all the time with people coming up to me saying, "Oh, I would do this and do that." I'm like, go for it then.
Yeah.
Because you can go in there with a game plan, and someone's maybe got the same game plan as you, or just something happens that.
Well, you think with that many people, your game plan is going out the window. Yeah. A game plan can come in if there's 3 of you, but when there's 20 on people,
you can't predict all outcomes from all personalities at all times of the day. It's impossible.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what's the fun part that didn't make the edit?
It's hard because I think the show is very serious, but with a little bit of a campy humour to it.
Yeah.
There's so much hilarity. I don't know what it was like for yours, but on our first round table, I went out and like, this is incredible. We've got the best cast because we're laughing, even though it was serious and intense. We were laughing and cracking jokes. There's so much conversation that happens when we're just like sitting about before all the serious bits. They could have another show that shows all the conversations because the casting is spot on. Everyone's interesting, and I felt like a bit of a spare prick going in there because I was like, I don't have this like great story or anything, but I found it interesting speaking to everyone else.
Yeah,
because everyone's such just a normal, nice person. So you can have another story, another TV show.
Oh, you could definitely have a spin-off from season 1 and spin-off from season 2 with the off cuts. Basically,
it'd be hilarious.
Maybe who knows down the line? Listen, there may be some down the line, but yeah, it would be like like they do best. Not now, she takes the drama out of the show, but down the line, the funny bits or the outtakes or something like that.
I think they should do it as a reunion show, the end of the season. There should be an extra episode where everyone comes back and we look at everybody's
stuff that didn't make the cut, but is actually But then you look at them, do they want to? Because I'd say 1 and 2 are not perfection. They are so different, but they were so fucking brilliant. Both see, and I'm looking forward to season 3, which we'll cover in a minute. But yeah, they were both very different characters, fantastic, likable cast. But yeah, just
not everyone.
No, yeah, we all know that. We don't speak to. Yeah, we're saying that's a good question actually. Who do you still speak to from season 2?
I feel like I speak to a lot of them, but I try and reach out to everyone as much as I can, but it's a shame because I guess people are busy and it kind of breaks up quite a bit. But I speak a lot to like Ash, Johnny, Zach, Evie quite a lot. I've seen Evie in a few days actually.
Lovely.
So I try and speak to as many people because you're in this little group of people that have been in this situation that not everyone else has, and it's crazy how bonded you get after even a few days.
I will say you will hold. So I've got some very I'd say some of my best friends from the show now. I'm very close with Hannah, Faye. I speak to Maddie a lot, Amos, Will I get on with, funny enough. People think me and Will absolutely hate each other, but we voice note earlier, we're voice noting, so no hard feelings. The game's a game, but actually, I will actually say, and from season 2 as well, I loved some cast from season 2. I'll class some of them as my friends now, and I hope that family will grow for season 3. But yeah, I've become friends. I could say quite happily now that I will have friends for a very long time.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
You know, so he said not for life.
Yeah, for a long,
just for a long time.
Yeah. Until you don't need them anymore.
Not forever.
The game is still afoot. It's still going on.
But you must have that on committed people you do shows with, and by the way, it's slightly different, but people you have to do shows with, do you?
It is different because I'm there, especially when you're looking at stand-up. If you're doubling, for example. So last night we did this charity gig in at the Comedy Store, and the lineup was
I saw
Stephen, Stephen K. Amos, who else was there? Stephen K. Amos, Dara Brown, Sean Walsh was on, Susie Ruffle was on, Mark Sim was on. It was just this lineup was ridiculous. And I was closing the show. I was hoping I was opening it because you don't want to close that show. That's the most nerve-wracking. Like for a while, and everyone killed. When you do stand-up, sometimes at some shows, you don't want people to be
that good.
Yeah, because it's so nerve. Because you go, I've got to follow that.
Bars high, yeah.
Everyone like murdered last night. Even
very on theme there.
Right.
It's very partial of a murder.
Oh God, dude! Even the raffle they did was hilarious.
Oh, brilliant!
And I had to close the show. But what was really nice is I got to watch all of those comics because I never get to go and watch comedy anymore because I was on stage. And the people that I want to go and watch, we're not booked at the same time because we're all closing shows. So it's only really when you get to do shows like that that you actually get to see other comics. But yeah, you're only there for maybe 20 minutes. So it'll be, you get that bond after maybe the 5th, 6th, 7th time you've gigged with that person.
Yeah.
So there's people that I speak to now, like when I see like Caesar Ruffle, I think we maybe have only gigged 8 times together, but it's now enough that when you see it, you're excited to see that person.
Yeah. I guess it's because it's almost like being in the trenches with that. Like when you start out in comedy, it's hard going. Even carrying on, it's hard going. But you're in the trenches and you're both fighting. So if one person if one person has a bad gig, you're there to pick them up, and you know how it feels, and vice versa. And you both might have a terrible gig, and say you're in the car on the way home on the train, you're like, oh shit, you're trauma bonding over that. So
dude, do you know what? There's nothing worse than driving home for a gig where one of you's killed it and one of you died. It is awkward. Yeah. It is really. So I
fancy some food. You hungry?
It could be not even just driving. You might be getting the same train home, and one of you, for whatever reason, because do you know when people say you're only as good as the gig you've just done?
Yeah.
I think you're only as good as the gig you're doing right now. Yeah. And sometimes you can have a joke that's worked in one room that audience just goes, no, not a fan.
But I'll also say on that as well is massive character building. Like from the show, I've learned a lot from the show. You probably will come out of the show very differently. You come out probably gigs that you've done differently, but you don't lose, you learn. And if something don't work, especially if you're that type of person, you probably adapted, tweaked some of your jokes, known when to deliver them.
I rewrite my jokes after pretty much every show, like because you come out and you go, I could say that one a bit better. My timing was better on this one. I performed that one a bit better at another show, or something will happen. You go, right, that's now added into it. So you'll rewrite it after all the shows. But I think entertainment, anyway, you do need a thick skin.
Yeah.
Especially to do, because you think with what I've done, I go and do a 20-minute set on TV and they'll edit it down to 10. But they're editing 10 minutes out of my best 20.
Yeah.
Whereas you guys are going into a show and you've got to be your entire self for the whole run, not knowing what they're gonna pick and pull out.
Well, even I've got such main character syndrome, right? I was in like the talking head bits, I was like, oh, it was really funny. That's so good. Watching the show, like, oh, they didn't put any of that in. Like, I felt like the show was about me, right?
But I was like, you can't go on a show like that and get like, I've had stick going on there. I think if you haven't had any stick for going to trades, you're quite lucky. I think a lot of people got some sort of form of stick, and they do warn you about it and teach you about it. But I'm always going to defend anyone that's been on the trades, because like, you need to go through that process. You need to get on there and you need to understand. I was mentioning to some of the other contestants, like, there's only 44 of us. There's about to be 66 of us. The family's growing. You're not always going to speak to everyone after, but I always respect anyone that's been on the show, because everyone does hold that unique bond of being at Castle. Yeah. It's massive. It's the biggest show. I know everyone's got their own, like, so I'm a celebrity and my wife's into Married at First Sight and stuff like that. But yeah, for me, Traitors was, I'd never have done a reality show if it wasn't for the Traitors. So it's a unique show.
How are you feeling? Well, what's life like after Traitors now?
It's quite interesting, because you've got that bubble at the start that's maybe, say, 2 months. That's crazy.
Massive,
like interviews, radio, TV, socials is mental. Like, your numbers are going up, you're getting DMs and everything. And it's such, just, I've been thinking about it a lot recently, because it's such, fame, let's say, is such an interesting concept and thing to look at, because I can notice it trickling off. Not that I'm saying that I was famous, but I was I could get spotted in the street, and now I notice, like, oh, I've not got spotted in the street in a while. I've not noticed people, like, glances and stuff. I noticed that trickling off, and like, oh, I'm not getting as many DMs anymore, or my likes are going down. So again, like we're saying about a thick skin, is if you went on to a show really wanting to be famous off of it, you are going to, like, you're going to struggle. And that's why the welfare team are so important, I think, because they phoned me. Actually, the welfare team, like, when I left the show, the welfare team kept phoning me maybe every, like, few days, and I'm like, they want me back on, because it was self-filling. I was like,
I love that.
And they're like, how are you doing? I was like, well, it was fine until you phoned me.
It's true that you're saying, like, that's a very, very good point, and I think a lot of people deal with it in different ways, because not everyone has the same journey on the show. Everyone was on the show, and fair play to get on with it. Everyone has their own unique story and journey on the show, and that is a big thing. You do feel them first. I remember, do you remember the first person that stopped you to have a photo? Like, what an amazing moment that was.
Crazy,
when someone, like, or when you did get recognised, it is a lovely feeling. It's like, I've never had anyone give me any, only online I've had a bit of stick, but I've never had anyone face to face to do it apart from him.
When being recognised, I learned to let them speak first. I made a horrid mistake, because it started to happen more for my situation. So for me, proper comedy fans will recognise me, and it's starting to grow more and more, to the point where I was walking home from the gym. I don't know if I mentioned I work out.
I don't think he's.
I've brought it up.
We need to leave that in, because I don't think.
I don't think I've brought it up ever. But I was walking home from the gym, and this is like after a run of a few people recognising me over the course of that weekend. I'm walking home, and I see this couple walking down the hill, and they start waving me when we're getting sort of earshot. And I'm like, oh, here we go again. So I wave back.
It's me.
I'm waving back like the Queen.
Hello.
Yes, it's me. And we got sort of within speaking distance, and I should let them speak first, because they're waving, I'm waving back. And I was like, yes, guys. Yeah,
it is me.
How?
It's
Gonzo. They're going, how can I help you? And she's just gone, can we speak to you about Jesus Christ? I was like, for fuck's sake.
My.
Handed me a leaf.
I am here.
And now I stood.
Did the wave turn into a grab at the envelope?
Oh, yeah. But because I'd done that, I stood there, because I didn't want to be rude. I let them speak to me about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for a solid 12 minutes.
You wanted the Lord to save you at that exact moment.
Yeah, if any time he could have swallowed me up whole and dragged me back to hell.
I love that.
I've had people come up to me and they're like, oh, hi, Brian, from Traitors. I'm like, yeah. And wait for them, and they don't say anything. So I start talking, and I'm like, there was one time I was like, oh yeah, it's Aubrey's birthday today. I was and they're just like, yeah, cool.
Yeah. I think some people are a bit shocked as well, didn't they, when you speak to you? They watch you on there, and it's unique to us.
Yeah.
But I remember the first person that recognised me. I think we was on episode 7 or something. I'd just come back with Amos, and I went to. Bearing in mind that I had my journey obviously been kicked out. come back in the church and had a couple of episodes. I went to the co-op to get some shopping, whatever it was, and this woman walked out with her daughter, and she dropped her shopping bag in front of me and went, "Oh my God, it's Kia!" Started shaking. I just got a loaf of bread and a pint of milk. I was like, "All right." Then she started crying. She went, "Oh, she loved you on The Traitors." I went, "I'm still on The Traitors." And like, I went to give her a most awkward hug, but I was like, I didn't know how to deal with it. I was like, it's really. I got back to my wife. I was like, "Fucking hell!" Like, I've had the most. It's lovely, but when it really caught me off guard, I didn't know how to deal with that. Yeah. And then since after that, it went. I've had some crazy. We went to Manchester and someone recognised me, had a photo, and I had like a queue of people behind them for having photos and stuff. I was like, it is quite a surreal experience, but it does decline.
It's great to, like I was saying, going on to that show, I wanted to experience things. Like,
that sounded so dirty.
Yeah, I was open to. No, I wanted to go on, experience being on the show and the production, doing the missions and stuff. I got to experience 15 minutes of fame, what it'd be like to be a superstar almost. Not that level, but oh right, that must be crazy. Like, I've just had 2 people come up to me in one day. Imagine what it's like being Justin Bieber or something like that. You can't leave that house, man.
Level
I'll hate that. Like, the whole thing of not being able to...
Privacy.
Yeah, but it depends on who it is. You think someone like Keanu Reeves, who still gets on the subway in New York, and people leave him alone because they're used to, he just doesn't live that celebrity life.
No, one of my favourite of all time.
But then you look at like Beyonce can't go down to Tesco's and get a pint of milk, and I bet she'd probably love to.
Have you, through your work as a photographer as well, have you picked up work from it? Has it been good to people, like, if they've booked you and then realise who you are and stuff like that? Is it good stories?
I don't know if it was. I think it might have been detrimental at the start, because as a wedding photographer, you want to be in the background. You don't want the day about to be
people take photos of you.
Like, as a photographer, my sort of style is to be a bit of, not centre of attention, but like a bit of a joker, and like kind of getting people laughing and stuff. But you don't want people like, talking about me. It's about the bride and groom. And that's when I get noticed most. People come up to me at the end once they've had a few drinks, like, that Paul was a wanker. And I'm like, what about me?
That's a great point. You do get a lot of people come up to you and go, "Do you still speak to Will? Why did you in the face? Why did so many people get invested in it?" And a lot of people do come up talking to you like they're your mates and ask you for your opinions on some of the other contestants. Sometimes I get caught out.
Like, I do love it. See, once I've worked an 11-hour shift, shooting a wedding all day on my feet, doing thousands of steps, sweaty and all of this. There was once I was outside in the rain doing a Prosecco pop or champagne. I was covered in that, and they're like, "Can I get a photo?" I'm like, "Yeah, so if you want that." But I do love it when people come up to me.
It's lovely, isn't it?
I hope I never get bored of it, because it's actually quite endearing that you've made
someone's day.
Yeah. I forget, because it's something that we love to do. I forget that people love watching it. I forget it means something more to other people.
For you, ours is drama, and people love drama, but laughing, I think, laughing solves a lot of life's.
Yeah.
For me, laughing and jokes has got me through probably the darkest times of my life.
My favourite is when comedy goes wrong. I think it's absolutely hilarious when something's unplanned. And you're now in the moment. You said about being recognised. I did this show, Birmingham Glee, and at the start just before the start of the show, this woman come up to me. She'd seen me before, and she was like, "I brought my husband to see you. He's actually a big fan, but he's terrified of comedians. He's terrified of live comedy." And I was like, "Why would you tell me this now? I'm about to go on stage."
Where's he sitting?
He's funny.
Centre.
What a ridiculous fear that is.
Brilliant.
When she but seriously, dude, when she pointed him out, he looked terrified to be in the comedy setting. He only watches it at home.
Right, okay, so it's not like round the Christmas table and someone's like, knock, knock. He's like, ah! Get him!
No, it's that comedy setting, and he looked so terrified. It felt like me taking the piss out of him on stage felt like kicking a puppy. You know it's wrong.
He's a bit too,
and it was. So I said to him, "Look, I'm not going to take the piss out of you. Don't be nervous. If you're at a comedy show and a comedian speaks to you, just go with it. Because the more you fight, the more embarrassing he's going to make it. We want you to do that.
Yeah.
So just go with it, and it takes the ammunition out of the comedian. So I said to him, when I'm on stage, I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to ask you a question, and it'll just be nice, and then you'll see it's not that bad. And he was so nervous and scared, but he agreed to it. And I've got on stage, and I was doing a bit about being on a cruise ship. And all I asked was, anyone been on a cruise? And he put his hand up, and I thought, perfect. Because all I was going to ask him was, when you got on a cruise ship, were you scared? That was it. So yes or no? And he's there at the table, and I've asked him the question. I went, so when you first got on a cruise, were you scared? And he's gone, not as scared as I am of your lot. And the whole room did that.
Yeah.
Everyone looked at it. Even his wife from the burger was like, what the fuck?
Who the fuck is this guy?
I was like, oh, he meant comedians. You look fucked up. And the room just went, but this dude, because he saw his face. He said it and then heard it.
Oh, no.
And was like, his mum was like, I knew I shouldn't have come to love. I was right to be scared.
I like how he was scared of it. Went to a comedy gig and probably got the biggest laugh of the night. Mad.
But terrified.
Did you enjoy your overall experience on the show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people say that they wouldn't go back and do it, but I would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Would you be a traitor?
I wanted to be a traitor going in.
Did you? We'd ask a couple of people.
For longevity, for my game plan. I didn't go in with a massive game plan, but my sort of little bit of a map. I wanted to be a traitor so I could have a bit more control.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily
going to get taken out straight away. You definitely get a chance to last longer, didn't you?
Yeah. At that first round table when you got the blindfold on, I was like, if I'm freaking out now, I don't want to be a traitor because if someone came at me, I would crumble.
Yeah, I think we had Johnny on before and we said, I think some people naturally would be good at catching traitors, that naturally would be good at it. I think I look like I've got a face of a traitor, so I think if I was a traitor from the beginning, I'd probably been killed off.
But that's why I wore white. I wore white on the first day because it's like angelic and and it was like trying to be all happy and like
with a little
I was like trying to look like
innocent. Yeah. Any standout moments that you think like iconic moments from season 1 and 2 that you thought that made me want to apply for the show, or something that you thought, wow, that was epic, that was fantastic?
Not from season 1 actually. Well, there probably was, but I looked back on your season with rose tinted glasses because when I started getting further on in the application, I was like, oh, I'm going to watch this again, and I forgot how emotional it was.
Oh, God,
it was actually quite. You look at it and like, why would anyone go on this show? And I was like, am I doing the right thing? So not so much from them, but I guess like you could say like Tom's reaction in the breakfast and stuff like that. But from our series was Ross's wink was the camera was incredible.
Very good,
and a lot of Harry moments as well, especially when he was like, oh, what his gameplay and risk, a big risk to say, what if you think it's two traitors going at each other? Because there could be somebody that goes, well, that's what a traitor would say. No one done that in that moment. That's a big risk.
He relaxed into his role by that time.
Yeah.
He was getting in. Yeah,
even in that final, that was watching that final. I felt so bad for it.
It happened on the Australian. I mean, with our one, it was different. If you felt sorry for Will at the end or whoever lost, got the the Australian one broke my heart. I speak to a lot of the cast from Australia season 1, and when bless him, Craig lost and he got done and lost. Very similar to your season where you had someone that really was blindsided by that person and got right to you, and you need that to get to the end. But for me as a viewer watching Molly at the end, I was like, oh,
because she was so nice.
Yeah,
that made like you can't. It would have been easier if she wasn't as likable. Yeah, she was so.
Oh, she's lovely.
Like she really believed him.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
and it was really interesting to watch that sort of psychology sort of look at it. It was like Harry was also, he wasn't cutthroat.
No,
he was, but he was also like, I think you could tell he felt a little bit bad. But he's like, it's also a game.
He'd learned from season 1. I think. Yeah, you. There's no.
I don't know if he felt bad. I didn't see regret.
Laughing in his one. I think he was very aware of. I think I kind of was as well. Watching my round table, I was like, this is amazing. This is like how this is playing out. So I think he was aware of creating stories. I really don't mean that in a negative way. It's just like,
no,
if he was at the end, he'd be like, this would be really good to do this. Yeah. Like, so
thinking a step ahead and stuff like that. Yeah. I'll just think, but also I'd say on the show, you've got a lot of people, you don't have to win that show to actually come out, I think if you're remembered, you have good moments in the show, you're like a fan favourite, you're remembered, you'll get the messages. You don't have to be a winner to be successful out of the show.
Although I really wanted to be in longer, I was really happy with
your journey.
I was happy with how I went out.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I've created this moment.
It's great,
like,
yeah.
Who can say that one, they've been on a cliffhanger of one of the biggest TV shows, and then like created this moment. I didn't just go out in a little puff of smoke.
Yeah, you're part of TV history now.
Yeah, so I was like, that's just incredible. Yeah. So I'm like weighing this up.
It's
like I would have loved to go on further, but would I love to go on further and then just kind of fizzled out?
You went out. That's what I said. I said I couldn't wait to have you on today. I was like, you went out with a member. I remember the moment. I remember it very well. So like, that's how I would like to go. I'd like to be remembered if I ever done the show.
I think you're well remembered.
But so I think you need to have good moments. Anyone that does the show, my advice would be to get some great moments.
And that's why this show's so good, because you can't write it.
No.
The producers put you in, and they do, because I have asked them, I was like, right, what happens here? And like, no, literally, we leave you to it. Whatever happens, and you can't. That's why the casting is so good, because these little things do happen, and it just kind of unravels.
It's one of the biggest questions we get. Is it produced? Do they tell you where to go? No, they do not. They leave you. They don't tell you what room to go in. You can roam around that castle as much. The only thing they tell you is when the mission's coming up, when the round table's coming up in the evening. Apart from that, during the day in the castle, it is your own devices, and that's where alliances are built, lost, all of those scenarios. But it's not produced.
I know in Love Island, or I've heard in Love Island,
they
like,
tell
go
you
and speak to that person.
What do you think about this? Nothing at all. Nothing at all. So that's why it's one of the best shows on TV.
Yeah, because that's why I'm so excited for the third one, because you can't even guess what's going to happen. Say, for example, take Love Island. It's like, I can't wait for Casa Amor. I can't wait for the bombshell. Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen?
It's the unknown, isn't it?
Like, there's one thing I do want. I'm going to call this out now. I hope it's going to happen in season 3 or maybe season 4. But I think season 3, that's the way it come out, is identical twins, and it's obvious that they're identical twins, because then they then split them up immediately, but I think they'll put them
what a fucking genius.
Because then if they're both faithful, it's out of the producer's hands, and one of them could get recruited, and they won't be able to tell each other. How much fun
did you have as your identical twin though as well, if your outfits mixing it up?
I didn't even think of that.
One of them was a trait. You go, right, give me your outfit. I'm going to go to the turret tonight.
You wouldn't know, would you?
Mate, it's like, what a great angle. That is fucking amazing, Brian. Love that. Yeah.
Because that's something that's not happened yet, that the couple that's went in, it might happen in another series from a different country, is that they've then went to opposite sides. So Ross from my series got put as a traitor, but Diane was already gone. So that's not happened.
Yeah, he got recruited, didn't he? Tom and Alex. And let's see whether they will do another twist with a family member of season 3. So it's interesting to see whether that twist will come, and will the players have that in their mind. Because
definitely will.
People, season 1, when I was watching it back, they thought I was Aaron's dad. They weren't Kieran's, definitely Aaron's dad. Like, it's his son. I was like, fucking hell, thanks for that. Put about 10 years on me. But no, definitely
It's funny that people are even thinking about that in your series, because in ours, we were straight into it thinking about stuff like maybe like day.
Is there a family member?
If I go in there, I'm bringing DNA kits and people get
fucking hair.
Just still a pluck of hair, swap with someone. I'm finding out I'm trusting no one.